はい、ではお時間になりましたので、こちらのセッションは藤井さんとマテオさんによる発表になります。よろしくお願いします。
このプレゼンテーションは英語でやらせていただきます。質問とかは後で日本語でも全然問題ないです。Okay, so let's start our presentation. Matteo, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So first, our presentation style is kind of unique today. I will do my presentation from here, and here's Matteo, and he's our Agile coach, and at the moment he's working from Italy. But unfortunately, due to COVID situation, he could not come to Japan for today's conference. So we decided to have our presentation with this style today. So first, let us introduce briefly. So my name is Takahiro Fujii. So now I'm Vice President of Engineering at WellSpark. WellSpark is a kind of startup for the prop tech and also fintech space. And my career was started at Rakuten as a software engineer, and I have a couple of experience about back-end and front-end engineering. Then I moved to the engineering management as my major role. And then in 2020, I have joined WellSpark and then became a VP of engineering to manage engineering organization. Okay, so Matteo, could you please go ahead?
Yes. Briefly, I'm Matteo. As Taka said, I'm from Italy, and I've been this conference 4 times before. This is the 4th actually, but the first in remote. And I work as Agile Coach, trainer, and facilitator for WellSpark. And basically, I've worked for many industries and fields such as telco, IT, video advertising, banking, and so on. So here we are.
Okay, thank you. So here is today's agenda. But before we start today's topic, I would like to explain a bit more about our current company situation. Then audience could have a more concrete picture about our current situation. So this is a too simple timeline. Before COVID situation, our company already has a kind of remote work style, but this is a partial remote working. So basically 1 or 2 times in a week, we were doing the remote working. But after the COVID situation, we switched to the full-time remote work. And then also in last year's April, I became management positions. And also let us introduce our organization. So WellSpark, our company, over 80% of engineers came from outside of Japan. So there are so many countries, as you can see. And but most of the people are living in Tokyo, but about 20% are offshore or always working from remotely. And organization size is about 40 plus. And the other point is that originally our business team is very, very strong. And from last year, we tried to migrate our direction from business driven to product driven with Matteo gradually. And also our organization style was inspired by Spotify model. So we have many small cross-functional team to drive our product development. And before COVID situation, as you know, we can communicate each other very easily. This is not about a meeting. Other than meeting, we can talk each other very easily. And here's one of my favorite culture before COVID situation in WellSpark. We have a coffee culture. So most of the day, at 3 p.m., someone posts the go to coffee. And then even someone don't like coffee, just we can go to a convenience store to buy something. But I think my favorite point is walk to the convenience store. Every engineer can communicate each other, even they don't work each other at the moment. Hey, how you are doing, or what kind of development are you doing, or something like that. then it's very easy to know other members' situation and the status. So this is I think very good culture, and I like it. But the COVID situation has been started, so we need to think about remote and trust. So this is our today's topic. So the first, definitely we need to talk about this topic, because after the COVID situation and we has been started through remote working, then definitely every company has a lot of remote meetings. But there's some challenge. So Matteo, could you please?
Yes, there are of course some challenge, and as you can see in this small diagram, we can see the effectiveness of communication and the richness of communication. For example, we can move from cold communication to hot communication. Writing things on paper or having email conversation, for example, are things that we call cold communication, because the effectiveness is low and the richness is also low. But we gradually can move in top right. For example, the most effective and the most rich form of communication we may know and we may experience is the face-to-face communication, especially if this happens in front of a whiteboard. Of course, as you can imagine, this is a good place to build trust among people, because we have a chance to talk each other in front of on a whiteboard, make some brainstorming. But with COVID, this was not possible anymore. So we tried to move the communication from cold to hot again, because in the beginning we had a lot of remote meetings, a lot of email conversations, Slack conversation, but this is what we call cold conversation. So that's why we started relying a lot on Miro. So yeah, in brief, we can say that without Miro, we could not survive, because whiteboards are the first thing that in a COVID situation we lost. We lost this kind of physical environment in which people started brainstorming and sketching around together, putting stickies on a board, putting stickies on a Kanban board. And actually, we use a lot of tools, a lot of digital tools that are simulating this physical experience, I think with good results. For example, we are using Miro at all company levels. This is our project portfolio. This is the company strategy, for example. So this is our business direction. And as you can see here, we are using this kind of visual signals, like we are just in a physical environment, to show our roadmap or longer vision. But also we use Miro for products. As you can see here, even product teams and product people are using the same tool to visualize things, gather around a board, having a brainstorming together. As you can see on the left, we have some mock-ups and some UX, UI sketches made with Figma and other tools that we are moving here, and then product people and product owners can translate into product roadmaps, for example, using tools like user story mapping that you can see on the right. And last but not least, even the engineering teams are using those tools to model their workflow, to see their flow of work. As you can see here, they sketched a possible board for their flow, for their way of working, even having some working agreements together. So in brief, what we wanted to underline here is that this tool help people in socialize together things around a board, around a common frame of discussion at different level. No matter if you are from business, no matter if you are from product, no matter if you are from the engineering team.
So the meeting collaboration is definitely very important, but not only meeting, but also programming or coding, we need to have some collaboration. I think definitely some of the company or some of the team have a culture of pair programmings or the mobile programmings. And yeah, this is very fortunate things. We can continue to do pair programmings or mobile programmings by using, for example, VS Code Live Share or Code with Me. So I think this concept has been existing quite a long time, but stability has some problem. But yeah, fortunately this season or at the moment, those kind of tools are very stable, and even remote working, we can do pair programming or mobile programming by using those kind of tools. So this is a very great things. So let's go back to the, this is about tools, but let's go back to the about communication. So after COVID situation, first, we need to have more communication somehow, and we try to talk each other more than before. But important thing is about how we could have interactive communication. So if we just having more meeting, then there's not so much interactive communication are there, and somehow even the facilitator or engineering manager would not do micromanagement, but somehow meetings is reporting meeting, something like that.
Yeah, briefly, we noticed that in the beginning, moving from real and face-to-face communication to asynchronous and offline communication was very different. So the amount of conversation of Slack, again, cold communication increased. And while this is a good thing, it can be very difficult to find the information you need or go back to the history of those conversations, keeping track of those conversations, because Slack has different channels, so the conversation is fragmented. So we experience also many issues on this. And probably the biggest issue that every company is facing in a post-COVID world is that we are in an always online mode. So being always online on the long run can lead to poor focus and poor results, because people feel this kind of fatigue of being always online, always alerted. And all these things together tied with the need of us as human beings of reading facial expression, it's of course an obstacle for trust, because to build trust, you first need to put in place hot communication, probably face-to-face, and you need to read the people's facial expression and the emotions and the body language. And while this comes easy and natural in a physical environment, when we work remotely, this is, of course, much more difficult. For example, in a remote setting, we suffer this lack of presence. For example, when people turned off the camera or just looking at the people as split screens or as small figures in a monitor. This, of course, it's difficult for us to read their facial expression, because when we read body language, we do this in a physical environment, and we usually look at the whole body of a person. And of course, as I was saying, this is an obstacle for building trust among people. But we tried also to express, those kind of feelings in different ways. Probably keeping in touch more often, showing kudos and appreciation, and even make some feelings and sensation more transparent to others, probably sticking post-its or discussing in funny ways like this. Again, also, I already said it, but the fact that we are always online and our brain is constantly focusing on looking at people in cameras, paying constantly attention. This is a huge cognitive load for our brains that we need to leverage somehow.
So this is a quick summary regarding about meetings. So what can help? So we think about the meetings. So definitely the quantity of communication is important, but after full remote working situation, we need to take care about the quality of the meeting. And also, I think engineers believe that like text information is very useful and very correct as always, but quality of the information, the video call is completely better than Slack message. So we should have recognized about the situation. And the third one and the fourth one is the important point we lost after the COVID situation is interactive communication, not the quantity of meeting. So we need to take care how we could have more collaboration between each members. So as much as possible, we should use some collaborating tool, and we should visualize, and we should express about the emotion as much as possible, and also pair work. And about camera, it's not mandatory, but if there's no problem, or at least we can ask if it's no problem, please turn on your camera. So this might be helpful for some members. And remaining 2 points I will explain about later. And about this one is also one more tips. About today's keynote session, there's a word of the small world network. So I think I feel a little bit similar situation. So in our company, there's a Slack channel, which is a Times. And about this channel, anyone can tweet. This is not report. Somehow, this is kind of mumbling, or I can say kind of internal Twitter. So anyone can say anything. And sometimes some member can help the left top side. So if one member are considering how we can implement the IP restriction, and if some other member already has experience or some tips, we can answer the question. But this is not, as I said, reporting. So this is just mumbling, and this is just tweet. But yeah, this is good for some members. And one note is not everyone like Twitter. I know some members don't like those kind of style, but some members like this kind of communication way. So next our topic is trust formula. So Matteo, could you please?
Yeah, just want to use that there is a formula to building trust between people, and this is the formula that we are referring to, but we will explain this in a while. So basically, this is the formula that can be applied to discover how many days are required within a team to build a trust relationship. And the big R here is the days needed to build one-way trust relationship. So between me and Taka, probably there is a one-way relationship. So in the sense Matteo Taka, but there is also another way of building this trust relationship that is on the opposite sides. Taka, Matteo. Okay, this is the way. And the N you can see here is the number of the team members. So according to this formula, it will take 2 days to establish two-way trust relationship between two people. And as you can see, for two people, this is very, very easy. 2 people, 2 days to build a trust relationship. But in the case of 3 people, as you can see, the relationships are increasing. So we need 12 days to build a trust relationship among a team of 3 people. Now, imagine what happens if your team is made of 9 or more people. It takes a lot more time to build trust. And there is also another thing to underline here is that people, when working together, they cross different phases. The forming phase, the storming phase, the norming phase, and the performing phase. The forming phase is the phase in which team effectiveness is probably low, and their performance is also low. They are start building trust among each other, and inevitably the people will, the team will cross what we call the storming phase. That is basically a phase in which all different opinions and point of view starts emerging. So probably in this phase, people will start arguing each other, even in the way of doing things. But if there is trust, probably this phase will be very, very short, and the team will move soon from the forming phase to the norming phase. The norming phase is the phase in which, as you can see, the team effectiveness and the team performance is increasing. Here, we are not talking about a team yet. Probably we are talking about a group of people that has the right potential to be a team in the long run. And the last but not least, we have the performing phase, in which we have a group of people that is not a group of people anymore, and it is a team, a real team that is able to achieve great effectiveness, because it's this kind of effectiveness, it's built on trust.
So I think Takuma model is very, very well known model. And one thing I'd like to talk is that after you started the full remote working, does anyone feel that your organization or your teams has returned to forming or the storming situation, even the before COVID situation, the teams are a norming or performing situation? So we faced such kind of situation. So I'd like to talk a little bit how I felt those kind of situation. So the first one is, for example, evaluation. So it depends on the company or teams. The evaluation criteria or evaluation system is completely different, I guess. But for example, our company was a very, very startup. We don't have very clear evaluation criteria before. And if everyone working at the same room and everyone can communicate each other, so definitely some information is reached to your manager and your boss. And then even your boss say, yeah, I'm looking your very hard work as always, then somehow member can understand, I see, or something like that. But after the full remote working, this will not work anymore. So even your manager or your boss say, yeah, I'm looking your hard work every time, but this is not true. So if there's no criteria or if there's no clear system, then the situation has been changed after the full remote working. So yeah, it was a kind of very tough situation for me, the first evaluation feedback period after the full remote working. So as a first action, I just try to hear everyone's feedback regarding the current evaluations or feedbacks or everything. So I can get the several types of feedbacks, and then after that, we try to make some of the criteria or evaluation system gradually. And one of the important fact I noticed is most of member doesn't require perfect evaluations, but they would like to know, at least after this kind of situation, most of the members would like to know the management or manager are taking some action to improve the situation. So this is a good learning for me. And second one is information gap. So as I talked in the beginning, so before COVID situation, the WellSpark already has the partial remote working. So there's some of the remote worker are there. And but we had a lot of offline meeting at the office. So we had a lot of good discussion among the members. And after the discussion, we share the simple minutes or we share the simple conclusion. And from some of the remote workers' point of view, they could have some assumption. Definitely, they had a lot of discussion and they made this conclusion. But the most of the case, the context and the quantity of information is lacking. So there's some case somehow remote workers need to understand about the conclusion and the context. But after we move to the full remote working, the on-site members can also notice those kind of situations. So this is actually good things. And also this is regarding onboarding. So sorry for small text. So even there's a full remote working, there are two types of person there. So the left side is when this person joined the company is not full remote working style. So there are a couple of times this person can work at the office and then company move to the full remote working style. And right side is even this person has been joined company, the company is already doing full remote working style. So as a current situation, both of them are working from remotely, but if there's no good onboarding structure for the remote workers or contractors or some members, definitely right side person will struggle about the onboarding. So this is also good things after we move to the full remote working, we could notice about those kind of situations. So I feel this is my kind of a conclusion I noticed after full remote working. So after we started full remote work, we could know what is missing about in our current organization to build trust. So of course, the remote working and the full remote work style has many challenges. But after we moved to the full remote working, we could notice some of the issue we could not notice beforehand. Yeah, this is a great learning. So let's wrap up our comment and the conclusion. So the next one is what I'm thinking as the management engineering manager. So especially I would like to emphasize the second point, and don't make assumptions. This is I feel very difficult but important part. So after the full remote working, for some case, definitely there's a lack of the information, and I could have some assumptions. But one thing I really taking care is when I communicate to members, even I have an assumption, I can say, I was wondering, or I think this might be the case, or something like that. Then even I have an assumption, but I can clear my assumption is correct or not correct through communication. So this is one important thing I feel. And the third one is definitely after the remote working, we could not know every information. This is not possible. So whenever things I don't know, yeah, I should say what I don't know. And as Matteo mentioned, the kudos is very important. And last part, that in order to today's presentation, I asked my team member what is important for your trust of the company or teams. And of course, there's many things about the communications or their daily work, but they also mention a lot of things related to non-technical matters. So especially, for example, our company, there's so many non-Japanese engineers come from outside of Japan. So that means they could not meet their family in a very, very long time. And some members could have very difficult situation based on that. It might not be an engineering organization's responsibility and law, but as a company, this is a very important things when we consider about the trust of the company. So yeah, this is I feel very important things.
Yeah, and a couple of takeaways even from my side. So basically, we noticed how the remote work can be an obstacle for building trust. And basically, trust is the starting point for everything within an organization. So what we can do as change agents, no matter if we are coaches, if we are a member of engineering teams, if we are vice presidents of product or engineering, in my opinion, one-to-one meetings are useful to gather context. I mean, talking with people is what really matters. And before, as Taka mentioned, we had this coffee culture and conversation happening at water cooler machine are available within our organization. So even going on the workplace and observing, it's probably not possible anymore. So if Gemba walk is not possible, in my experience, shadowing the meetings helps a lot. And for shadowing, I mean act just like a shadow, staying in the background, just observing what are the dynamics between people, what are the conversation happening during these meetings. This helps a lot in order to gather context and catching all the conversation, all the meaningful conversation that are usually full of insight that before we were able to catch and listen at water cooler machine. So again, as a starting point, we probably as companies and team members and people within our organization focus to build and gather trust, and then focus on processes. And just few bullet points about what can foster trust, how we can build trust. I mean, given that trust is an emergent property of your workplace, admitting your mistakes, because mistakes are part of human nature, this helps in fostering trust. Asking help and providing a feedback culture in which we can give feedback to the others, and especially we should ask for feedback to others about our work, about how we're behaving. This helps in fostering trust. Also clarifying roles and responsibilities, because in a remote setting, it's sometimes difficult to understand what people have to do, what are the roles, what are the responsibilities, the handovers, and keep expectation real, practice active listening are, in my opinion, all elements that help a company and a team in building trust. But especially, even again, in a remote setting, starting with why. I mean, before talking about processes and tasks, giving context to people, start with why, starting why we are doing this thing, telling people why they are doing this thing, what's the context. It's of course helpful. Acknowledge the others for the good work, being transparent. And last but not least, I think that in a remote environment, talking about ourselves helps in building human and trust relationship. And that's why I think it's important.
Okay, yeah, so this is all of our today's presentation, and this is last slide. So it was a challenge. Matteo joined our company from different place and a different time zone. but so far we could have a good relationship and we could continue to do many improvements together. So yeah, this is one of the good, how do I say, the output. We could have this kind of presentation together remotely. So yeah, this is also a good example to show our trust. So that's it for our today's presentation. So thank you for listening today. That's it.
Thank you, everyone.
はい、発表ありがとうございます。何かご質問ある方いらっしゃいますでしょうか。会場の方でも、Zoom の方でも大丈夫です。じゃあ、あちらのマイクの方で。
日本語で大丈夫ですね。はい。お話の中であった、always online っていうところがちょっと気になったんですけど、はい、すみません。割と前半の方だったかもしれないです。はい。結構今僕もフルリモートで仕事してまして、こう仕事の切れ目がなくなって結構疲れちゃうのを感じる時が多くて、で、always online って言ってるのが、こうなんですかね、それを助長するわけではないと思うんですよ。なんです、この消耗しないために何か決めてる運用のルールとか、そういうのがあれば聞いてみたいなと思いました。例えば、スラックのメンションどうするとか、細かいところだと、なんかそういうのがあるのかなって想像してるんですけど。
僕が日本語で答えたら英語にしてくれるんですかね。
いや、多分そこは続けてない。
そうですよね。そんなに実はルールっていうものはないんですけど、
はい、
ただなんていうんですかね、返事をあまり強制しないですよっていうメッセージは明確に打ってはいるという感じで、別になんかその返事しなかったらなんで返事しなかったんだよみたいなのは一切なくて、本当になんかその反応できる時でいいみたいなことは常々言ってるっていう、強いて言えばそれぐらいですね。
はい、なるほど。じゃあ例えばなんていうか期限というか今日中に欲しいとか、明日とか空いてる時でいいよみたいなのをちゃんと言うっていう感じ。
そうですね。本当になんかインシデントとかっていう時はそれ用のチャンネルがあるんですけど、そうでない限りにおいては基本的にその人が反応できるタイミングで反応するでいいし、なんか別にその終わった後で反応できなくても別にそれが問題になることはないっていうことは言ってたりはします。はい。
なるほど。ありがとうございます。すみません、もう一個なんですけど、レコードショートビデオってコミュニケーションの手段みたいなところですかね。紹介されていて、すみません、どこでしたっけ、What can help とかっていうところだったと思います。そこですね。これの下から2番目のですかね。これってこうなんか動画だと確かに伝わりそうだなという感じがして、どういう状況で使われたりしますか？
そうですね。基本結構使うというか、使うことめちゃくちゃ多いです。なんかこのコロナ前とかになんか僕があったなと思うのは、なんか何かのミーティングで実は一人二人何かしらの理由があって出れなかったですとかっていう時に、なんか一応なんか後で議事録見といてねみたいな話とかってすると思うんですけど、それ多分議事録が結構ちゃんと書かれてないと、もはやなんか結果を見ること以外何もできないみたいな状態とかって結構コロナの前からあったかなと思っていて、でそういう時になんかその人それぞれによって興味があると思うんで、必ず見なきゃいけないっていう多分興味があったら見たいっていうケースが結構あったと思っていて、なんでディスカッションもののやつは結構取っておいて、もし見たかったら後から確認できますよっていう形で取っておくと、そのミーティング参加できなかった方も見れますし、僕らの場合だと時差でそもそも参加できなかった方とかも一応議論も終えるので、 なんかあの時のこれってこういう意味ですかとかっていうのが、ちゃんと質問できるみたいなところがいいなと思っているという感じですかね。
ああ、なるほど。じゃあ、ミーティングの様子をもう録画しておく。
そうですね。なんで基本的に、僕らは Google Meet でやってるんですけど、やるときは録画、本当になんかそのハドルとか録画してないですけど、ディスカッションとかミーティング、議題があるものに関しては録画はとりあえずしておくっていうことが多いです。はい。
なるほど。ありがとうございます。
はい、他に質問のある方、
Is it okay if I ask in English? Okay. So I really liked the part about the mumbling. And one of the things I wanted to ask both you and Matteo is there are some people who are really good at mumbling or saying things out loud so that people can build trust with them, talking about their thought processes. And then there's some people who prefer not to do that. It's all internal processing. And we've found in our organization, people who process internally tend to have a harder time building trust than people who talk externally. So I was wondering, have you seen that? And what are some things that you can do? Because we don't want to make internal processors talk out loud, but how can you build trust depending on someone's style?
Matteo, can you?
Yeah, I can add something on this. We can probably say that this approach here is something that can enable talking aloud. It's like the first follower principle. We have this channel here. Some people start using it in a very natural way, and we probably can expect that the more people we start using naturally, this kind of behavior will widespread across all the organization. Of course, we cannot target all the people within the organization because some people are a little bit shy and some other, as you were saying, doesn't tend to express their feeling openly. But having this kind of approach, we can assume that more people, even the shy one, looking at the first follower, will follow the example and start opening themselves. I don't know if I answered somehow the question,
Yes.
but it's like following the natural disposition of the system. And for system, I mean an organization made of people with different personalities.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
もう一度、英語で。すみません。You had mentioned that people don't need a perfect feedback evaluation, but they need to see manager action to help improvement. Could you elaborate a little bit on some of those manager actions and some of the improvements that you were thinking of?
Okay. So what I did in the last times, the before COVID situation, we don't have clear evaluation criteria. So there's no measurable factors we are using about evaluation. So what I did is the first, other than that, what I did is the first we made the clear criteria. So the company, so for example, we think the productivity in the cross-functional team is one of the major factor we need to measure. So we have a 360 feedback among the cross-functional team. So this is one of the indicator we use about the evaluation. And other than that, for example, there are also the 360 feedback among the engineering team to see about the engineering or product and the code-based contribution among the engineering team. So first, after I decided those kind of some of the criteria, and at least I can say by using those kind of criteria, we will do evaluations. So of course, still there's a difficulty, and for some case, within this criteria, why my score is this, or why my evaluation is this. Still, those kind of discussions happening, but they also recognize at least this is better than before. So I think this is one of the good, how do I say, the good point. And also, continuously I'm doing to get some feedback from member. And actually, this is actual feedback from a member. So some members say my evaluation is low compared to market value, for example. And then I ask, why do you think so? What is your market value definition? I would like to discuss more about your definition. So those kind of things, yeah, I discussed and summarized all of Q&A pages. Those kind of things I did.
はい、わかりました。ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
マテオさんの最後のパートで、missing the water cooler conversation というのがあって、で、I'm also missing that. Do you have anything try to recover that?
Probably, as I mentioned, to gather the context that we usually to get at during the water cooler conversation, shadowing meetings and talking with people, even in one-to-one, helps a lot because they can tell stories to you, even in private. And those kind of stories helps you in gathering context about the organization. So the point is, if you don't have a water cooler, let's try to make it happen in a different settings. Sometimes ask people just to have a virtual coffee together, and this sometimes works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
はい。では、お時間の方になりましたので、こちらで一回質問の方は打ち切らせていただきます。Thank you for presentation, Matteo, and 発表ありがとうございました、藤井さん。じゃあ、またお二人に最後拍手の方お願いします。